It's not a big deal.
Hey.
He said, so he's going to write up rules and regulations. And he says, if he misbehaves, we'll throw him out of the press conference. So now Trump, like a teacher, it has to be like, okay, now we're going to have to write rules for everyone that says, if you do this, then it's against the rule. So that's what Trump has to do, because Jim Acosta's kind of a baby. But now the media is trying to spin it like, Trump is attacking the free press by making rules and regulations for the press. And they're like freaking out about it, like, oh my God, Trump's trying to limit the press. No, he's not trying to limit the press. He's making rules and regulations because there's babies who don't follow the rules, and now they sue, and now they get back in the courtroom. So now he's got to figure out a little rule set that everyone can follow. And it's just so strange because the truth is that the entire mainstream media is basically working together in some form. You had Fox News back up CNN and say, we're behind the lawsuit. I mean, CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, Comedy Central, all of the television stations, all of the people, like pretty much everything besides half of Fox News and One American News Network, they're all saying the same things. They're not revolutionary. They're not asking questions about, say the war on Yemen, or asking deep questions about the Federal Reserve, or asking questions about
LJT, you got a minute? I feel like our little enterprise is doing well, but it could be doing even weller. If we upgraded the equipment. It's your outlay, so it's your call. But think about it.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're having a good week as always. I'm here to talk about 3 stories today. The first story of the day is Julian Assange. There's a lot of media reports that he's going to be charged soon. We're going to talk about what he could possibly be charged for, and if he even deserves to be charged at all. Second story of the day is a representative from California used nuclear weapons in a gun control debate on Twitter. Really weird stuff. I have all the direct quotes here. It sounded like he was threatening nuclear war on the American people, although I know he said he didn't, so I'm going to be as fair and honest about that as possible, but very, very creepy, weird way to have a gun control debate, to use nukes in your argument. That happened. Third story of the day is Jim Acosta, according to courts, got his press pass back. He's back in the White House because the court ruled that. We're going to wait about a minute or 2 minutes for everyone to get in the live stream. For now, I'm going to play my new song, and I'm going to pin it to the top. I have a new song and a music video out with the band Trapped. Thank you guys who are supporting that. I'm going to pin it.
The hardest pill to swallow. Why do you think it filled with sorrow? Cause peace ain't sold in jewels and bottles. You can't go living like the models because they aren't even models. Hold up, this is the truth. I spit in the booth. I don't do this for me, I did it for you. I bring water to drown. I was sent for the youth to let all of these things so the mission comes true. This is the truth. I spit in the booth. I know life can get hard, but this message is true. Please don't give up. This life is worth living. I promise. When the roof starts caving in, we come together. When the walls come crashing down, we come together. We have fathers to fall, when we forget we have hearts. Now it's time for us to remember. Now or never, now or better when we come together.
This is my new song, by the way, guys. A lot of people were saying they didn't even know I was a music artist. I don't promote that much, pretty much never. I've only said it a few times, but yeah, that's what I did before news analysis, and I still do. I'm a hip-hop artist. So a band called Trapped, they're actually a platinum rock group. They did the song Headstrong, Echo. They have a lot of really good songs, and they reached out to me. We made a song. I said we should make one about the world coming together, so that's what we did. We made a song called Come Together, a music video. I'm very, very happy with how it came out, and everybody was liking it. I mean, I'm sure someone didn't like it, but the comments you guys were leaving, I saw hundreds of them saying you guys were listening to it. So thank you so much for supporting my song, Come Together. The link's pinned to the top, and at the end I'll post to a place you can listen to it. But today we're back to news. I got 3 stories. This Julian Assange, congressman kind of threatening gun owners, and the third story is Jim Acosta. So we'll wait about a minute or 2 for everyone to get in. Thank you guys so much. We'll do some shout outs as normal. Brittany, what's going on from North Dakota? Thank you, Christy. I got some tea in here. It's very rare, exclusive organic tea. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. Thank you, Cheryl. Sean, what's going on, brother? Yeah, I don't say it much. You know, I got different hats, so to speak. I wish I had a hat to put on now. It would be perfect. But yeah, before I did news analysis, I did hip-hop, and I had a few million views just for rap, and I actually had 1 million song downloads, but I've always been independent. I'll tell you a quick story before I start real quick. I got flown to New York City years before I did news analysis with an independent label. I won't say who they are, but they're known for like political hip-hop. And they told me in the meeting, they said, Anomaly, we love what you're doing, but just talk about marijuana and talk about girls. Don't talk about politics. So I was like, what? So I actually had industry people tell me not to talk about politics. I did the exact opposite, and it worked out very, very well. So I never sold out. I'm my own manager still. I manage myself. I do all my own stuff. Pretty cool, exciting. So I'm glad that that's working out as well. Spider-Man mug, you must be all right. Yeah, friend got this for me. You know, life is good. Thank you, promise. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate you. Greg, thank you, brother. Thank you, Shelly. Props to the Stanley Spider-Man mug. You can thank Abby. My friend Abby got it for me, so she's a big Spider-Man fan, and I am now too. I drank my tea out of it. Alright, we'll start it up in a few seconds. The first story of the day is about Julian Assange. There's a bunch of reports. I believe it started with the Washington Post, and then New York Times followed, Politico. all the mainstream media, and they reported possible charges for Julian Assange. If you don't know who Julian Assange is, he's the founder and the leader of WikiLeaks. He's been in the Ecuadorian embassy, I believe in the UK. It's the Ecuadorian embassy, but I believe it's in the UK. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's been pretty much hiding out there because he's been dodging, I don't know, I guess, charges that really were non-existent. First, they were saying he raped somebody in Sweden. The Swedish government was trying to charge him for rape, but actually the Swedish government dropped the charges of rape. So Julian Assange has been hiding out in an embassy for, I don't know, he doesn't really have any actual charges that they could find him on, but it seems like he's made a lot of governments around the world mad, because what he does is he releases classified information via his news source. But here's the kicker, and why they can't charge him and haven't charged him yet, is because he doesn't actually hack it or steal it himself. So it's not a crime to publish classified material. That's not a crime. If that was a crime, Washington Post and New York Times would go to jail. During the Trump administration, I believe multiple times they've published classified information and anonymous sources and things that they shouldn't have published. So what Julian Assange does is exactly the same thing as some of these mainstream media outlets, except the difference between him and the mainstream media is that WikiLeaks has an 100% accuracy rating, so they've never actually lied, whereas the New York Times, Washington Post, CNN have all had to retract stories and in some cases fire employees for getting completely false stories. With ABC, I believe they tanked the stock market with a fake story. So, you know, fake news has real-life consequences. They started wars that killed and displaced millions of people, destabilized parts of Africa, Middle East, and Europe, and United States, and Canada. Fake news has consequences. So WikiLeaks, whether you love them or hate them, you might not agree with the classified information they leak, but they don't ever make mistakes, according to, you know, their flawless track record. So it's very strange, and I do want to say on Julian Assange too, is I don't know his personal record. You know, it's debatable how good it is that he releases classified information and puts it out there. You could say it's not right, and maybe I'd agree with you on some extent, but here's what I'll say about Julian Assange personally. He had one of the best Twitter accounts in the world. He wasn't a huge fan of Trump. He really didn't like Hillary and people like that, but he gave really good perspective. So Julian Assange is like a very, very smart, honest person. I would argue that he was the smartest Trump critic. Like when he critiqued Trump, it actually made sense, and I love that about him, because I didn't agree with him, but I was like, oh, okay, somebody who doesn't like Trump, who isn't a complete like brainwashed fool that just makes stuff up because they don't like Trump. So I enjoyed his Twitter thoroughly. I read a tweet recently that he was talking about male feminists. He had a good tweet about male feminists saying that they all almost like are desperate for women and that you know they're unliked among their peers. It was hilarious. It was funny coming from him because I feel like he's more liberal leaning. But anyway, Julian Assange, they took his internet away first at the Ecuadorian embassy. So once they had a new leader of Ecuador, all of a sudden a few months later, and he was supposed to be pro-Julian Assange, they took his internet connection away, which sucked because, I mean, Julian Assange had a great Twitter account. I loved it. I thought he was very, very, you know, deep and intellectual. So then he loses his internet for weeks or months. It's been months now. Sorry, I lose track of time. I'm like, hey, we met last week, and people are like, I haven't seen you for 6 months. I'm like, oh, sorry, I lost track of time. Time flies. But yeah, Julian Assange has had no internet for months. He's had no people allowed to, I believe, visit him. One of his most famous visitors is Pam Anderson. Who knows what happened behind closed doors? Get it, Julian, but definitely wrap up. Never mind. But anyway. You know, he hasn't been able to take visitors, and now they're saying that he's going to get charged. So my thoughts on it before I move on to the next story is, one, what is his charge? What is he getting charged for? I made a joke with a lot of truth behind it on Twitter saying, what's he getting charged for? Exposing corruption, exposing crime, never getting a fake story, having the best Twitter account, being smart. Like, maybe being smart is a crime. Maybe you don't want to be smart in this world. It didn't work for Socrates. Didn't work for Malcolm X, didn't work very well for Martin Luther King. In hindsight it did. Everyone's like, oh, we love them. Like, yeah, well then why did you kill them? Because when they were alive, people didn't like them as much, and now you celebrate them after you killed them. Doesn't make much sense to me. But anyway, Julian Assange, what he's doing is technically not illegal. It's what the mainstream media does, release classified material. And in the 2016 election, his crime was exposing crime. He exposed that they were cheating and rigging the election. It led to, people having to step down, I believe, because they revealed a lot of, inner corruption that we never would have known about. So it's very, very interesting. And I do want to say as well with Julian Assange, Trump on the campaign trail, maybe some people like him or don't like him here, let me know in the comments. Trump was like, I love WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks. He kept saying that because WikiLeaks was revealing a lot of corruption about the Clintons, and Podesta and whatnot. So he liked them during the campaign trail. I would love to see Trump, follow through on that, because I think Julian Assange is an asset. Whether you agree or disagree with his work, he's clearly a smart guy. He clearly knows a lot of stuff. He's somebody you want on your team, not against you. And also, I don't think he's somebody that you want to kill or put in jail, because I think he's a special human being. But I do believe for Trump supporters, a lot of people are saying, well, he's being a hypocrite and he's not going to help Julian. We'll not know till we know, but here's the thing about what they're doing to Trump, and a lot of people aren't analyzing this properly. Or maybe they just have a different opinion, but this is mine. They put Trump in a rock, between a rock and a hard place, whatever that metaphor is, or you know what I'm saying. They said that Julian Assange is working with Russia. I don't personally think he's working with Russia, but that's what the news is saying. They've crafted the narrative that Julian Assange is like a Russian tool. So they've put Trump in a space where if he doesn't pardon Julian Assange, or he doesn't try to help Julian Assange, then he's a critic, he's a hypocrite. A lot of conservatives like Julian Assange. I would say most conservatives like Julian Assange. Most progressive, left-leaning Bernie Sanders type supporters, they love Julian Assange. So Julian Assange is incredibly popular on the left, incredibly popular on the right. I would say some conservatives don't like him, and some liberals, I would say the people who just like watch CNN and believe everything they hear, they don't like Julian Assange. But he's very popular. But if Trump pardons Assange, they're going to say he's working with Russia. If Trump doesn't do it, he's a hypocrite. This is what the mainstream media loves to do, folks. They love to craft a narrative to make you do what they already want you to do. With North Korea, they want Trump to start a war. They never wanted us to get along with North Korea, so they craft the narrative. If you fight with North Korea, that's bad. It's war. We're going to die. If you get along with North Korea, you're a dictator. You get along with only authoritarians. Putin is not one of their little UN puppets, so it's like if you get along with Putin, you're a Russian puppet. If you fight Putin, that's good. They want you to start wars, so it's like you can't win. It's either you start a war or you go against their narrative. That's what they're doing to Trump with Julian Assange. So I would say do as you wish, but as someone who supports Trump, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's a deep state puppet. They make these things impossible. Everything that Trump does, if he steps there, it's wrong. If he hires Jeff Sessions, it's wrong. If he fires Jeff Sessions, it's wrong. If he does this, it's wrong. If he does this, it's wrong. They're trying to set Trump and, quite frankly, the United States up for failure. So I know what Trump's going through, because it's like if he really did pardon Julian Assange, they'd freak out, call him a Russian, and protest, march in the streets, and try to remove him from office as soon as possible, saying it's dangerous. I mean, the dude can't even breathe without him saying it's dangerous. So overall, personally, I would love to see Julian Assange get pardoned. I would love to see him get an internet connection. I would love to see him freed. Let him be his thing, but let me know your thoughts. I appreciate Julian Assange, and I don't agree with how they're treating him. But I'm open to, discussion about that. The next story is a creepy one. Hold on, let me breathe real quick. Take a sip. Sorry, guys. The next story is a crazy story, and I got all the quotes written down. So, first off, I want to say happy birthday, Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell is a representative or a congressman from East Bay, which I believe is San Francisco in California. He's the senior Democratic something for the CIA. So, congratulations on that. That's a nice gig. And it's his birthday, so happy birthday. I saw on Twitter, I was like, man, what a weird day to do this, but he decided to do it on his birthday, and that's what I do, is talk about stuff. So here we are. Happy birthday, Eric. Much love. So it started when John Cardillo, he tweeted this. I'm going to read it. He said, make no mistake, Democrats want to eradicate the Second Amendment, ban and seize all guns, and have all power rest with the state. These people are dangerously obsessed with power. So this guy tweeted that. My friend, Joe Biggs, I've only met him once. I'm not saying we're like family friends or anything, But I like him. I met him in person, and I think he's a cool guy. He does like, right-wing reporting. He's from Texas, just a classic Texan. Is a veteran as well, Joe Biggs. He retweeted that, and he said, and he tagged in this Representative Eric Swalwell. He said, so basically, Eric Swalwell wants a war, because that's what you would get. You're out of your effing mind if you think I'll give up my rights and give the government all the power. So Joe Biggs is saying how a lot of gun owners feel. They say, I'm not giving up my guns. You think you're crazy if you think I'm going to give the government all that power. This is when the story gets absolutely insane. And he did this on his birthday. I don't know why. So Representative Congressman Eric Swalwell of California then responds to Joe Biggs saying that, and he said, and that would be a short war, my friend. The government has nukes, too many of them, but they're legit. I'm sure if we talked, we could find some common ground to protect our family and communities. So this, just to let you know, I mean, it's absolutely insane to me. This is a Democratic congressman and a senior Democrat to the CIA or whatever, and he's responding to right-wing conservatives saying, first one says, they're going to take all the guns. They're obsessed with power. Then one says, you're out of your mind if you think I'm going to take my guns. And then he responds and says, and that would be a short war. He said, you'd start a war. And Eric said, that would be a short war. We have nukes. So to me, that sounds like a nuclear threat, saying, if you think that you're not going to give up all your guns, we have nukes. We'll win the war. I mean, that's literally what he said. But then he backpedaled and said, no. I wasn't threatening you with nukes. I'm just saying we have them and you don't. So you should give up your guns because we win the war anyway. It's not the thing that a congressman should say. He should definitely apologize. He probably won't. It's his birthday. Not a good time to say it. Overall, I guess I sort of understand where he's coming from. I have liberal friends, and first of all, they're just like random people who are on TV, so they're allowed to have these opinions, not to the public. But that's like the weirdest thing they always say to me.